Australia's firefighters are racing to burn off thick scrub and leaf litter before it becomes fuel for dangerous wildfires in the season ahead. After years of wetter than average conditions, the country is bracing for what many predict will be the worst season since the devastating fires of 2019-2020.
We'll go back to having fires that we've had plenty of times before, but how prepared are people and are they aware of what's coming? And that's the part that you worry about. We've got places that are flush with fuel. We're 5 years ahead of sort of what you'd expect. So all of this now has been removed. It's burned most of it out.
With one of the largest volunteer firefighting services in the world, Australia's frontline defenders give up weekends and juggle work to save lives and protect homes from disaster.
I think the world could learn a lot from how we do things. But the other side of that is that when you get these massive long fire seasons, you're asking people to leave their work for months. I've spoken to people who have been really, really distressed about having to make a decision that they just couldn't do it anymore.
3 years after deadly fires killed 33 people and millions of animals, Mullins, who has been battling fires for half a century, says the increasing intensity and frequency of disasters challenges how we battle blazes internationally.
And it's going to be a feature of climate change worldwide, is overlapping disaster seasons. We've had hundreds of firefighters assisting in Canada. We're going to need them here. We'll probably be calling on the Northern Hemisphere this year. If not this year, next year or the year after.
Surrounded by a dense national park, the firefighters at Wiseman's Ferry, north of Sydney, are readying for a busy season. As they eye the threat of bushfires, the town is still recovering from the devastating floods which hit months after the flames subsided.
There was nothing to be saved. When the water came through and the way it came up, there was nothing you could do. There was no way of stopping it.
Even after months of battling blazes before watching his home go under, Brennan continued to rescue those stranded by the bloated river. For his colleague, Kim Brownlee, witnessing a disaster surge through her community pushed her to keep going.
I got to see the devastation of those homes that are literally my neighbours' homes. They are just across the road from me, which meant that it kind of pushed us to go, once this water is down, we're going to clean up.
I remember going to Wiseman's Ferry to fight fires, and then a couple of months later I was hosing mud out of people's homes, and then back again. They were hit 3 times. And I just don't know how communities can bounce back when they just hit over and over and over again. And this is what climate change does. It intensifies extreme weather.
After a summer of several destructive fires around the world, the thought of catastrophic wildfires returning to Australia is daunting for those on the ground.
God, it's terrifying, but if you had 2019, 2020 become the norm, I don't know how you sustain that year on year. I don't think that's sustainable. You would have to be doing significant personnel and resource sharing between countries, because you cannot have enough of a response on standby all the time to turn out to something like that.
We're reaching our limits of adaptation when the worst natural disasters hit us. And I think that's a whole rethink about preparing before evacuation centres, moving homes out of harm's way, not relying on a fire truck or a flood boat turning up at every home, because it's just not practical.